What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XRP today. It is the 14th day of December, and here we are sitting at about $2 on the dot. 7 hours, 37 minutes left in this day, left in this week as well. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Here we are. Moving down a little bit, sure. We're down today about 1%. Bitcoin, I think, is down more, isn't it? Let's see. Daily time frame, yeah, you're literally down less than Bitcoin. Bitcoin's seeing relatively lower lows, and you're just holding up well. So no problem here, right? Typically, in moments like this where we see Bitcoin take a range that it's in and go lower, but altcoins are not seeing lower lows like we are right now, typically that implies that we move up. That's what that implies. That implies that in the short term, we're going to see a nice little rally, right? Like here, altcoins were holding up well. At this point, Bitcoin was at a lower low, and then altcoins rallied. Now, of course, we did go lower inevitably, but that's not the point. Okay, it's just I'm talking about the short-term stuff, the immediate-term stuff. Speaking of which, let's look at the 1 hour time frame, and then we'll zoom out from there. Wouldn't it be absolutely hilarious, or maybe not hilarious at all, but just a huge coincidence if we pumped up right here all the way up to like 91, 92K? Wouldn't it just be hilarious if we did that? Because we did that exact thing last Saturday as well, right? Or last Sunday as well. Friday, we were here on the 16th hour of the day. We were at the low. Friday, we were here on the 16th hour of the day. We were at the low. Here, this low, this slightly lower low came in. We broke out of this range to the downside, and that came in right on the 14th hour on Sunday, last Sunday, the 7th. This low came in on the 11th hour, pretty close to the 14th hour. On a Sunday, we broke out of our range. We had a slightly lower low, just like we did back here, and I'm wondering / not really wondering what comes next. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. I'm expecting that XRP will probably move up too, because if Bitcoin's going to move up, and that is my expectation, XRP likely gets a lick from that as well. 1 hour time frame here, looking at the low to the high. Golden ratio support, bullish engulfing candle here. It's not bad. It's not bad. Picking up a little bit of volume as you move down. I will say that's a little problematic, but not really. I'm not worried about it at all. We're not like making any headway to the downside. You know, we're not breaking out of this area here. Breaking this little range is not a big deal. 1 hour indicators. The RSI is bearish at the moment. It is bearish, but we're at a point where we might bounce and we might come up. So look for a little bit of a move up, I would say. We could move lower. I would say, let me just restate what I was trying to say here. We're at a low point in the RSI. We likely, from here in the RSI, we likely make our way higher. And I would think from here we do work our way to the overbought zone. I don't think we'll find resistance on the next attempt. However, with the RSI, we can move back down. We could find a higher low, something like that. And during that higher low moment, maybe we see a lower low in the price. So we could, here at $2, still go back below $2, even below these lows here, and still prevail to the upside, okay? That's possible. In this kind of area, anything could happen. Do we just charge up like this? Do we do something like this? You know, what are we going to do? We don't know yet, but in either outcome, you're still at the low or very near the low, to say the least, right? The stochastics are bullishly postured right now. The MACD is not. Two bearish things versus a bullishly postured thing. It's all bearish now. So again, just be open-minded to the idea of going lower. I wouldn't be surprised in the least if this was the low and we don't go lower, but just be open-minded. If we do, it's not going to be a significant amount. I highly doubt that we go below these lows. 4 hour time frame here, and those lows there, they're at like $1.93, $1.97. 4 hour time frame here, we're bouncing off the oversold zone. Again, it's like the 4 hour time frame is bearish, but reluctantly bearish, right? More and more reluctantly, or more and more reluctant to get into the oversold zone. Here you're getting oversold, no problem. Here it's a little bit of a problem. Here it's a big problem, and now you don't even want it. Get away from me. I want nothing to do with you, oversold zone. And that's promoting some resilience in the price as well, where we are grinding out this area, and then we finally break out of it with a fierce candle, but it's just a fake out, right? I think that this was a fake out. I think we're forming a higher low, and I think that we do continue to build from here. The stochastics look good right now. I actually like that you're bouncing right here off the oversold area, coming back up to cross above your orange line. We do have 3 hours, 32 minutes left in this 4 hour candle. So again, just with that in mind, this candle hasn't closed yet. These readings on the RSI, on the stochastics, they're not cemented yet until we get the candle to close. If in the next 3 hours we were to come back and close this candle red, we could move slightly lower. we could see a slightly lower low in the price, and we could also we could also see the stochastics come down to the oversold zone and then bounce from there. Sorry, I got distracted because I was thinking in my head earlier in this video, I was saying I don't think we go below these lows, but I suppose looking at it like this, maybe we could. Maybe we could go just below $1.96, maybe. But we would go just, we won't go below these lows. That's what I meant. We won't go below the 21st of November's lows, but we could go below these lows. But if we do, it's going to be very short-lived. The time of it will be very short, and the amount of it price-wise will be very small as well. It won't be a large amount. It won't be for a long time. It's going to be a very short-lived endeavor with a very small amount to the downside if we go lower. I'm not calling for us to go lower, calling for us to go higher, but if I'm wrong, I don't want people panic selling at what would debatably be the best time to buy. Stochastics look good right now, though. As long as the 4-hour closes green here or higher, should be moving up. This should mark a low. I like that with the stochastics. And the MACD itself, there is actually some bullish divergence. Man, there's some... So with the MACD, here's a little lesson, all right? Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but just hear me out. So with the MACD, if you have your price action and it's giving you a low, you get a lower low, you get a lower low, and then you get a lower low like this, but you're getting all these higher lows in the MACD. That's bullish divergence. You're getting lower lows but higher lows. But with the price here, and we have this low, it's getting higher lows here, and we are getting some lower lows in the price, but not all the way through. Here, this low was a higher low. This low here was a lower low there. This low is a higher low, though. So it's like you've got this trend, but it's not technically bullish divergence. There's moments where there's bullish divergence, but there's moments where it's not. I hope I'm making sense. If you're new to TA, if you have no idea about TA, this won't make sense to you, but I promise you I'm going to make this really quick, okay? All I'm trying to say is the MACD is used for more than just bullish divergence. It's a momentum indicator. You can literally see the momentum, right? Here you can see the bearish momentum is building. And when does it start to taper off? It starts to taper off here, and then it starts to build again, right? Let's put some lines here. You started to build bearish momentum here. You started to die off in bearish momentum about like really here. And then you started to build again right here. Okay? Build, die off, build. That's what that is. We look at the price. You're building in bearish momentum. It's dying off, so you're moving down. Now it's dying off. You're kind of just moving sideways. You're still moving down, but notice how the pace of which you're moving down is lesser than this pace here, right? It's a little bit more consistent. And then whenever the momentum builds up again, then you build to lower prices at a much faster pace. You're dropping here, right? And all of that was your bearish momentum there. And then the bullish momentum steps in, and that was the low of your move overall. Here, we're seeing the bearish momentum dying off from a long ways out. There's no bullish divergence right now, but it is dying off. The bullish momentum is building. The bullish momentum is going to take over. The oscillators here are about to cross above the zero. That's how we know that. So we're seeing it in the histogram and the oscillators. Something fierce is coming our way. This all implies, and this is on the 4-hour time frame, it's not the most significant time frame, but this all implies that we're going to see a nice pop up, probably something just like this. I would assume over the coming week. It's the 4-hour time frame. This is good for gauging the next like 3 to 5 days, maybe even like the next week or so. Daily time frame here, if we are expecting a nice pop, and I am expecting a nice pop. Should we measure it from this high to low? I don't know what fib to take. I feel like this fib would be good. Where did we stop before? Over here, for example, we stopped right at the 382. You stopped right at the 382. You stopped here just below the 382, didn't get to it. That's probably where you're going to go. So this pop might take us right up to the 382. And that makes a lot of sense. Again, here, if we put this low point in the fib here, that was a 382 rejection. Here, that was a 382 rejection. So from here, the 382 could be a place that we find resistance. It's still a lower high overall, and it's perfect because it's a lower high. You're breaking this trend, so it'll get people excited. They'll probably FOMO at the top, right at the 382 where we found resistance. It's perfect. And then on top of that, you're taking out this high, so you're giving that higher high, giving more reason to FOMO. When really you just had a nice pop, you might take profits, sell off, and then try again later, get a higher low, and then continue to build, something like that. So from here, in other words, we're at $2. What I'm calling for is a move. We'll probably get a sudden shift. You see how like here, we're on the daily time frame. It took 3 days to move up here. It took like about a week to move up here. It took about 3 or 4 days to move up here. Something like that. By the end of this next week, I would think that we are right. We're at the end of this week right now. Weekly time frame, 7 hours left. It is the end of this week here. By the end of the next week, so over the next 7 days and 7 hours 27 minutes now, I would assume XRP returns to $2.37 or higher. Something that's more or less important to mention is that with the 382, typically you don't wick right to it and then stop. Typically you don't. It can happen. It can happen, but typically that's not what happens. Typically what happens is you wick above it and then you close below it. So if we're above $2.37, I believe, yeah, if we're above 237, don't get excited. We could be at 245. Don't get excited until we're closing days above there. We close a day above the 382, then we're starting to think about the golden ratio. We start closing above the golden ratio, then we start talking about new all-time highs. It's time to get excited once we start closing above the 382, but don't get excited just because we're above it. Get excited when we close above it, right? This area is the next area to keep in mind. 237, we likely do push a little bit past that, but I would imagine we don't go too far. We probably don't go past like 245. That'd be my guess. And it'll be sudden. It'll be like a sudden shift, just like this. It might not be in one day. Maybe it is. Maybe it takes 5 days, however it is. But I would assume in a very short amount of time, that's the next move there for XRP. I'm kind of curious what the odds would be on Polymarket. Have to look at that. That might be a good bet to make. Anyways, I've got nothing else for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you did, hit the like button, subscribe, please, and thank you. The RSI is shifting bullish, I would say. It is neutral at the moment and with a bearish tilt, but there are some bullish things going on. We just have to see if the results are what I think they are, what I think the implications are here. Again, we're getting these bullish implications because here, I mean, really, going back to this high, you went down. Going back to this high, you went down, you went down, you went down, down, down. But then at this high, you've danced around. It's a little different of a procedure here than it has been any of these other times. Different behavior, different results. That's the thought. That's the thought there. So that's where that bullish implication comes from. It's like you're building pressure to break to the upside here, and I think that you will. Stochastics are reset, bullish momentum building on the daily time frame. I've got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. I fully expect that XRP in time will break out to new all-time highs, and we'll be sending it to the moon sometime in Q1. Take care. Bye-bye. See you later.